It's ahead to get them going. Yeah, man. Let's get all the things passed out. Let me still in the building. I don't even think they could hear me. Roll over here, dropping stuff. What's going on, y'all? Come on in. We're getting ready for another episode. Welcome back. It's the Fire Up the Heat Press Show. What up? Hey, happy Friday, y'all. It's Friday, baby. My son said, Daddy, my teacher said Friday like you. I said, yeah, your teacher's smart. Because, yeah, it's the end of the week. She ain't got to see you for another couple days. But come on in, y'all. Let me know in the comments where you're joining in from. Where are you joining in from today? All right. Share this with a friend as well. Let somebody know real quick that, hey, it's a Fire Up the Heat Press Show, and he is live, y'all. So your boy's live once again. We're back. Welcome. Come on in. If you're watching this live on Facebook, drop a comment down below. Let me know. Hey, fire emoji for Facebook, all right? If you're on YouTube, you already know, man. Drop an emoji down below as well. You feel me? Welcome, man. Welcome. Let me know what city, state you're joining in from. Drop your city down below. Let's see what's up to a few people over here. We got Pakistan in the building. Oh, Pakistan, what up? Say I make shirts. Yes, make sure you share this, right? Share this live, share this show. This is the Fire Up the Heat Press Show. We are live each and every Friday at 12 o'clock, man. So, like, you don't even got to worry about it. You come next week, we'll be here at 12. Like, if you're late, you can watch the replay. You feel me? But every single Friday, we will be right here live, bringing you another tips and trick to amplify your heat print business. So if you're new here, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Oh, we got Philly and Delaware in the building. All right. That's Burl right here shouting out himself while he's in the studio. He's shouting out himself while he's in the studio. I mean, what's up? So what's what you're gonna do, right? You're gonna get that camera face you. That camera right there. You're gonna be a part of this show today. Yeah, that top camera there. Yeah, point that one to you. And yep, so let me know. It's always fun and useful to see you, buddy. You should be able to just turn that on. All right. And then hit the shutter button because it's not on right now. Yeah. Hit that. There you go. Boom. Okay. Let's see what you looking like. Yep, we got a guest in the studio today. What up? Next step. Larry is in the building. Next Step Custom, Larry. We're gonna have to bring that up a bit. Bring it up a little bit. All right, sit back down. Let me see. All right, you're in there. You're in there, bro. You're in there. We got Next Step Custom in the building. What up? Say what's up to the people.
What up, everybody?
They can't even hear you, man. We're gonna have to plug you in, yo. We're gonna have to plug you in. There's a mic behind you. We're gonna have to plug you in, bro. But yeah, if you're excited, let me know where you're joining in from. We're about to get into Photoshop today, y'all. So today in this episode here, like I told you, man, if you've ever struggled with Photoshop, today I'm gonna be walking Next Step Custom through some stuff here. You know, we're gonna be going through some stuff here. He sent me some questions that he wanted some help with. And he showed up to do it live. So I'm gonna do it with y'all live today. We're about to go into it just like that. I'm gonna plug him up real quick so he can get some sound. All right, you're still in there. It's a good shot. There you go, right there. Yep. All right. We're back. We're back. Sir. What's going on? Next Step Custom. What's up, man?
Knowledge, as I do all the time, compare and pick your brain. So,
I appreciate you coming through, man. So y'all let me know where you're joining in the chat. Also share this live with someone else. Let them know, hey, it's the Fire Up the Heat Press show. And he's got a guest, man. He's got a guest today in this Next Step Custom. So today we're diving into Photoshop, man. If you've ever struggled with setting up your artwork, right, where there's like they're sending it back to you, oh man, this is not right. Oh, maybe a customer sent you an artwork that was just from Google, you know. Like, let me know in the comments, right? How many times do you, maybe you do it yourself. You download an image on Google. You said, man, I'm going to print this here. And then you pull that thing up and it's all pixelated. It's got a background. And you send it to the printer and the printer's like, bro, we can't do nothing with that, right?
Not at all. I'll be calling you all the time. Hey, I got this, my image. I got all of the boxes on the side, like this Pac-Man and Space Invaders or something. I'm like, yo, can you help me out?
Yeah, man.
So what, I always call them again because I still can't remember how to do it.
Yep. So I'm gonna walk you through this thing today, man. If you ever had any issue with Photoshop, this is gonna be your Photoshop basic, right? We're gonna walk into the program, show you how to set up your artwork, like how to actually set up your design for print for DTF. Okay. So if you are new to Photoshop, this program or this show right here today is going to give you a lot of pointers. Okay, we'll dive into the tools. We'll show you all the different tools that are actually necessary for you to learn, because most people get overwhelmed because of Photoshop, man. And I think the issue here is because there's a lot of buttons.
And not only Photoshop, because I tried the Photoshop thing, and then I was like, you know what? I found something a little bit cheaper, which I talked to E about, which was Affinity Designer.
Yeah,
basically the same thing, but he is actually showing me the same, because it's the same process almost in both softwares. But what's great about it is that whatever you use in Photoshop, you can use the same thing in Affinity Designer. So yeah.
All right, bro. My bad. The whole time your audio wasn't in. I was wondering why your audio wasn't coming in, but we're good now. But we're good now. You're good now. We'll get you in there. So my bad. Like next time, Larry audio wasn't on point, but his audio is on point now. So say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? Yo, it's your boy Larry from Next Step Custom Apparel, also in the Basement Podcast that I also do. I'm doing some interviews also for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and stuff like that as well. So look out for that.
Okay. So my man told you, man, he's got his own podcast, he's got his own show on YouTube, and he talk a lot about sports. You know, when I'm trying to figure out, hey, what do you do with the basketball? Is it a touchdown or is it a goal? That's who I hit up. Like, bro, I don't know. I got the ball. Is it a touchdown? Do I go and kick the ball? You
businessman, he ain't thinking about sports.
Yeah, I ain't got it for sports, man. But when it comes to graphic designs and Photoshop, that's what we're getting into today, man. So, like I said, man, one of the struggles that people have with artwork, right? It's they just don't understand how to set it up. And I want to take the time now, because of doing this for so many years, where I've opportunities of actually teaching myself Photoshop and teaching a bunch of other people as well how to use this program that is so overwhelming. And one of the biggest things that you're going to face when you open up that program, there are tools and buttons and all types of stuff everywhere that just leaves you overwhelmed, right? You're like, oh my goodness, I pay money for this month to month and I can't even use the tools. How do I even start, right? So this program right here, or this show today, is going to give you that fundamental basics, man, on how to open up Photoshop for the first time and not feel overwhelmed, because not everything in Photoshop is for you. Okay, this program is big, it's built, it's industry standard. So it's built for the industries, right? People are using this for photography, people are using this for motion design, people are doing this a lot of things with this. For me, I just need to set up some DTF files, send it over to my man so I get some prints, right? Send it over to the company, get some transfers. So if you're in the t-shirt business, the reason you'll be using Photoshop is to set up some type of design to either get transfers or to print yourself. And I want to take today's show to walk you through that, right? So if you're excited for that, go ahead, let me know in the comments, drop some likes. Also, subscribe if you are new.
Sure.
All right. So we're using Photoshop. I think this is the 2020 version today. Let me know what version of Photoshop do you use. And the thing here is, even though this is a step-by-step in Photoshop, right? There's also like other program, like Larry was saying, that these steps can also apply the same way, because I learned Photoshop first. I never took the time to learn Affinity Design, right? But because I learned Photoshop first, I'm able to use those same fundamentals to move over to any other program. So I tell people all the time, just learn one and preferably learn Photoshop. I mean, it's going to cost you a couple of dollars because you got to pay the monthly, but there's ways around that, right? I used to pay $60, bro. Right now, I found a way. I'm paying $19 a month.
Hey,
I think I told him I'm a student or something.
You always a student, though.
I'm always learning.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
it
I'm
works
always
out.
learning.
It works
So that's
out.
the way you can get it for the low, right? Just
Sure.
put yourself as a student or something like that. Get an email and all of that, and you'll be good. All right. So let's jump into the program. If you're ready for this, and you're excited, and you got your Photoshop open, or if you're watching this on the replay, this is a good time for you to actually sit back, open up that computer. If you got a multi-screen, it's actually cool too, right? So you can have the program on one side and you actually watch the show on another side too, like still getting involved, multitasking. You feel me? So let's jump into it. I'm going to take you step by step, like I said. Let's share my screen. And right now, you should be able to see my Photoshop screen. If you can see my Photoshop screen, let me know in the comments. Drop a yes in the comments. And I'm waiting on y'all. Let's go. I'm checking a few people. Okay. Hello, Miss Patricia. What's going on from Florida in the building? Said, can I join on camera? You can't join on camera right now on this show, but we'll get you set up. Maybe in the future, we'll do something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead now. You see my Photoshop screen. What I want to do now, first thing, is show you how to set up your document, right? So in this first section here, if you've never done anything in Photoshop, you can see I already opened it because I was working on something. I like to prepare a little bit, right? So I was getting prepared for y'all. I got the artwork that we're going to use right here on the screen. Let's say a customer send you this artwork here. It's got a background. Background sucks when it comes to DTF. What are you going to do, right? Like, how do you get this thing ready for print? I mean, so first thing here, you're going to open up your program, man. You open up the program, you don't know how to set it up. Most printers you're sending it to, they're going to tell you, hey, like, I need a 12 by 9, or I need a 12 by 12, I need a 4 by 4, right? How do you actually go ahead and set that up in your design program? That's how we're doing in Photoshop today. So first thing I want you to do right now is to jump over in the file menu, right? So if you already opened up the program, if you already opened up Photoshop, you come up here to file. We're going to pretend like it's brand new. So we're going to go to file, new. All right. So file new right now. This is where you set up your brand new document. Okay. So this brand new document, I want to make sure y'all can see this window. Make sure you can see this window. I don't know if you can see this window here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this window. Let me know if you can see the window that has. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this window, bro. You see this window?
Nope.
Okay. All right, you see the window now. Yep. All right, that's how we do it. All right, so you should be able to see this window, the document window here that says new document. So over here is where you're going to set up your canvas, right? Some people call it canvas, some people call it artboard, some people will call it workspace. No matter what term they use, this is actually how you set up your file for DTF print. Okay, this is how you do it. So the first thing you want to have in mind what size you want it to be, what size image you want that to be, right? What size transfer you're looking for. So let's say standard, you probably need a 12 by 12. Most of my stuff for full chest, I put my transfer on 12 by 12. If you're doing anything, 12 by 12 transfer is a good thing. So that way, if you need to fit a design that's like 11 inches there, you still got a little bit of space on the side, right? So we're gonna set up our document right here, 12 by 12 inches. You can see right here, I'm just gonna come into inches. If yours is on pixels, just hit this drop down here that says inches, change it now to where you want it to be. I read in inches. So now I'm going to hit in 12 by 12. Okay. So there's a few things I want you to pay attention to here when you're setting up your document for print. First thing is the size, 12 by 12. That's the size, right? The second thing here that your printer will hit you for if you don't get right. Like I'm telling you, your printer will hit you. You yourself will hate the outcome if you don't get this part right. And that's going to be the resolution. Okay. So the resolution, when it comes to print, there's two types of things, two types of resolution you want to worry about. All right. I'm going to break this down to you. When it comes to print, anything, if you're going to print it, you want to think at least 300 DPI, right? That's dots per inch. If you're going to print it, you intend to put this thing on a shirt, on a poster board, on a sock, no matter where you're printing it at. If you're going to print it, you need to think 300 DPI, dots per inch. But if this is something that's just going to stay digital, it's going to be just on the screen, you're only going to share it from device to device, it's okay to keep that resolution now at 72 DPI. Okay, so that way now, if you blow this up, you're not gonna lose that much pixels if it's at the right resolution. Okay, so 300 is just a minimum, based on how like heavy your computer is. You might be able to get with like 400 DPI or whatever. You can go higher, but just make sure it's at least at a 300 DPI. All right, so over here, you got mine's is always almost set at 300. So just go into your resolution, make sure it's on 300. Just type that in. If it's not, the next part I want you to pay attention here to now is your color mode. Color mode is important for DTF for you to have it set at RGB. RGB, right? Red, green, blue. This is how your computer think, okay? Any computer is going to talk in that language. That's how you really get the colors to pop and show like the real representation of what's on your screen. You need to set that at RGB. CMYK, there's an option there too, but you don't want it on CMYK. Even though you think, oh, I have a CMYK printer. I understand all of that. But listen to me, baby. Put that on RGB and move on. So your
Is that just for is CMYK for sublimation? Would you use that instead of RGB for sublimation?
yes. It, depending on the print method, I'll use that for sublimation. And but here's the thing, right? You can change that like for sublimation later on before you print. But once I'm creating, I want the colors to be
Vibrant
to be right. I mean, so the way I see on the screen is the way I want it to print. So that's why I keep it on RGB. Then I can convert later on in Photoshop or in my print management to RGB to CMYK if I needed it to. All right. So to keep everything safe, I like to tell people just go ahead and create on RGB mode. All right. So your color mode should be on RGB. Okay. So the next thing here that's important is the background content. All right. So most things with DTF is going to be transparent. That means like there is no background. I'll show you how to set all that up into the program. but you don't want any background. You want it to be transparent. That means if I put up a film, I should be able to see through that film, right? There is no background. Or else, unless you want that big box around your image, nobody want that big box. It's nasty. You feel me? So let's go ahead, put this on transparent on our background. So my background is on transparent right now. All right. The next thing I want you to pay attention to, matter of fact, we don't have to worry about anything here. This is it. All right. You can go ahead and name it up here, all the way up top. I'm gonna come back up top. I want to name this to, let's just say DTF show. We're gonna call it that, right? You name it how you want to name it, but that's all we're gonna mess with here. And now we're going to hit create. All right. So just like that, that's how you actually create the first pieces to your DTF. Like once you do this the first time, you're in a good place now. The rest of it now, you just have to watch the rest of this video. Just tune in, drop some questions if you got it down below.
Button. Make sure y'all hit the like button.
Make sure to hit that like button, baby. You're right. Make sure you smash that like button for me one time. And so the next thing I want you to pay attention to now is your artboard, right? So now this is your artboard. This is your canvas. This is your workspace. You're finally in Photoshop. And if it's your first time actually doing this, I would like to know. So let me know in the comments, right? Like, is this your first time actually getting this far in Photoshop? If you've done it before, congratulations. But if it's first time, fasten your seatbelt, baby. We're about to go in. We're about to go in. You need a helmet for this part here, right? Like, take notes and do whatever you got to do. I'm about to break this down for them, Larry. I'm telling you, baby.
And it's going to get frustrating sometimes. But even people, I learned, even though you know or have the experience, you still learn more. It's like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. So, at the same token, you learn it at the same time as learning from what you already know.
That's it. That's it. So now with our canvas created, what you see right now, this checkerboard looking thing on your screen, that's transparency, right? So these are pixels. So even though it look like it's a checkerboard, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see. But what's going on here? These are actually pixels. All right. So every dot you see here are actually pixels. I'm zooming in so you can actually see all the different dots. So everything in Photoshop is based off of pixels, right? That's what it's called, dots per inch. So when we set this up, there was 300 dots per inch set up in here. So the more I zoom in, the more I can see all of those pixels, right? So if you had a background here, you won't be able to see any of that. So you want to be able to see your transparent background like that, right? Okay, so once you got this, we're now going to tools. Left side of Photoshop now, if you're looking at it. And if you're watching this on a video, you're in a good place. If you're listening to this on audio, I would say jump over to the YouTube channel and actually watch this on video. That's how you're going to get value, right? But you can actually still get value by just listening because I'm that good. I mean, I'm just going to break it down to you like this. Make you look like you actually watching it when you're only listening. You feel me? But all right, let's jump in. So on the left side is where all your tools are at. Okay, so I'm going to pull my screen over a bit. Over here, you can move all of these different panels. So what you see swinging across the screen right now happens to be my tool panels, right? All of my tools are right here. This is where they're at. Excuse me. This is where they're at on the left side. You can replace this. If you're comfortable with it being on the right, you can put it on the right side. So when you see the blue, that means it's okay to release. Like I can drop this right now, right there, and it becomes part of my canvas, right? Or I can grab it again from the top and move it to the left side because I like it on the left side. All right, so mine is to the left. So those are all your tools. We're going to go through these tools one by one. Not all of them, but the ones that actually matter to your DTF business or your DTF transfer or whatever you're doing, right? So then on the top here is going to be your menu bar. Okay, so just like any other program, you have a menu bar here, file, edit, image, layers, We'll go through the ones that matters to you. But the other thing here underneath of that, you have what is called your contextual toolbar. For every tool that you land on the left side, those actually have another menu attached to them. That's called your contextual toolbar. And that's right underneath of the main menu bar. So if you can look, it's gonna start changing as I click on different tools here. You get more options on the top. All right. So then the next part here I want you to do, so everything is lined up so your screen looks like mine's. I like to have people set up their windows. So you want to go to Windows up top and then land on Workspace. Window, Workspace. Make sure your workspace is set for Essentials. For some reason, if it's on anything else, just bring it back to default Essentials. So that way we're all on the same page here. Your screen look like my screen, right? All right. So if you guys are excited, if you're having a good time already, please drop me a comment down below. If you're following along, if you're finding value, anything, just let me know in the comments right now. I will appreciate it. All right. So we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. So now, this next section here, I'm going to show you the tools. Okay. So we're going to bring in an image. I'm going to show you how to bring in an image, and then we're going to dive into all the different tools that are needed to set up your DTF files or anything. This is your Photoshop basic tools. All right. This is the explanation that you need to move on into your journey here. All right. So on the left side are our tools again. I want to break down all of these tools here. But before we do that, so that it makes sense to us, we want to go ahead and open up an image, bring an image in, the image that we'll be working with today. So to do that, how to drop an image into Photoshop is simple by going up here to File. There's two ways to do this, right? You can do File Place, Embedded, or File Open. I want to show you the difference, right? So File Place Embedded does excuse me. So what File Place Embedded does, it places a document onto a canvas that's already open. So we already have a canvas here that's opened up. I want to place an image into it. I'll go to File, Place Embedded. But let's say I want to open an image just by itself in a whole different tab, right? So these are all tabs up here that you can see. I have a tab here. I have another tab here for, actually, this was the thumbnail for the show today, right? So that's a tab. This is another tab right here, right? So all these are tabs. And what you want to do is go ahead and have your image opened up in another tab. So to do that, you come up to File, Open, and it's going to take you into your computer, and you can find a file that you want to open. So let's say I want to open up, I don't know, I want to open up this file. I think I clicked on something. Okay, so now it's going to open up this file, but it's going to open up on its own tab. All right, it's not going to be placed onto our artwork that we have sitting here already, right? So the next thing I want to do now, while I'm waiting for this thing to open up here, I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to cancel that and show you the way I would do it, because we already set up our artwork, is to do File, Place, Embedded. So a File, Place, Embedded now, we go to File up top, we go down to Place, Embedded, and then we can find that image onto our computer. All right, so I'm going to go into my computer. I'm going to find this image I want to use and bring it in. But I already have the image opened up right here. And that's the image we're going to use for the rest of this show. Okay, so now let's say this is your image. This is the one the customer sent you, or this is your logo you're trying to print with DTF, right? But this image here has a background. What tools do you need to use to get rid of the background? Like, what tools do you need? Let's dive into the tools, right? So you got your image open. First tool right here is, I like to call this your home tool. Like, if you're lost in Photoshop, you have nowhere else to go, nothing else makes sense right now, you need to go to your home tool. And that tool is basically your move tool. All right. So that move tool shortcut is V. So sometimes I'll be lost on Photoshop. I'm like, where's happening? I just push V on my keyboard and it takes me home. I mean, that's the shortcut, right? But mainly the first tool you want to pay attention to here is your move tool. And that's right up here. Very first tool. Move. It looks like east, west, south, north. You know what I mean?
Compass, your compass.
The compass. That's what you call it.
The
compass. That's why Larry's here, man. Your camera's off too. You're gonna have to hit. Yep. That's on the timer.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's the canvas. That's the compass. The compass. That's what it is.
Yeah, he's back. Larry's back. All right. Yeah. All right. So what we want to do now is use our move tool. So to move this here, boom, it's simple. I click on that tool. I can move this around. All right. I can move this around. But some of y'all right now, you're struggling. If you're following along, you couldn't move that because when you did the file open, it came in as a locked background layer, right? So let's just go ahead and open up our view. I want to go to view real quick. I want to make sure I can see my windows, my layers. So I want to go up here to view and I'll open up layers. So I want to make sure I can see my layers, right? And my layers panel is on my secondary screen. So I'm going to drag this over here. All right, so my layers are right here. I can see now I only have one layer. At first, if your layer over here has a lock next to it, just hit that lock and it's going to unlock it. All right, so we'll be on the same page. All right, so now your move tool, you're able to move this thing around. That's it. We're just moving it around. That's your move tool. All right, we're going to speed through these tools because I don't want you to be lost into this show today, right? You boy need some water or something.
Man, you drink that old coffee.
Man. But we're good. I got my doctor right here.
No
He's
doubt.
gonna give me CPR. Hopefully, I
Yeah,
don't need
yeah,
mouth
yeah.
to mouth or nothing. You know what I mean?
He's gonna slap him a couple
You know what
times.
I'm saying? Yeah. So next tool. Now we did the move tool. Next tool is gonna be your marquee tool. So what the marquee tool is? A marquee tool is basically just another selection tool. I mean, the marquee tool is just a selection tool, and it's right here, the second tool down. But there's different types of marquee tools, right? So when you look at your toolbar, every tool that has a arrow on the bottom right corner, that means it has a group of tools. All right. So that if you can see now, if I press and hold on this tool here, I can see I have my rectangular marquee tool, my elliptical marquee tool, my single line marquee tool. There's a bunch of different ones here. But what this is just a selection tool. So if I want my rectangular marquee tool, I can take a selection out of my image here. Let's say I want just this half selected. Boom. I got that part selected now. Now I can move that piece that I have selected. And how am I going to move this piece? By going back to my
Compass.
move tool, my compass, right? That's why I showed you that first tool, because that's your home tool. So I want to come back here to my move tool. And with that, I'm able to move this piece here that I just selected. So you can see now image is in two pieces. You're like, oh my goodness, that was cool. You didn't know that could happen. That was it, right? So that's what your marquee tool does. And now that image is not split. So all I did was deselect it by going to Control D and deselected it. Next thing I want to do now, I can use a different one. So let's say I want to do an elliptical. Elliptical is like an oval. I can do an oval here. I mean, I got that same piece, but if I want to do a circle, I can hold down shift with that same elliptical. I can do a circle version of this thing, right? And now I can move that circle around. I can move the circle around without the move tool if my circle is in the wrong position. But once I go back on the move tool, I'm moving that whole cutout.
Right.
I mean, so make sure we understand that I can move it now to reposition my circle with the marquee tool still selected. But once I go back to my move tool, I'm moving that whole piece now because that's a cutout. All right. So that's how your marquee tool work. And there's a bunch other tools in there you can learn. You just go ahead and do the same thing with all those different ones. The next tool that's in there is going to be your lasso tool. And there's a bunch of lassos here, elliptical lasso tool. So this one here is just another selection tool. So you can just do like a freehand selecting an area here. And as you, whatever shape you select with is that shape that's going to be controlled. And now we can do the same thing. That selection now can be moved and so on. Just another marquee tool, right? And there's a bunch more in there you can do. So then the polygonal one is the same thing, but now you can do it in like shapes. So like straight lines. If I wanted to do lines and stuff like that, I can do it and so on with this tool here. You know, and same thing. It's just another marquee tool. You can use this to move. All right. So that's your marquee tool. Real quick to deselect it, I'm just going to Control D. Or once it's selected, you want to move from the selection. You go up here to select and deselect. All right. That's how Photoshop works. If you want to select something, you go up top. Like, oh, is there a select key? You go to the select key, right? If you want to do something with an image, you look up top. Is there an image key? Oh, there's image right there. I mean, that's how it works. You just got to pay attention and see and have in your mind why you're into the program. That way you're not lost and just finding yourself all over the place. Like today, I'm showing you tools, but our main thing here is to show you real quick. I'm gonna show you how to remove the background, all those things, and get this set up. but I want to show you the tools that's going to matter to you in case you wanted to do something else, right? So the next thing I want you to do that is super important, one of like it's like the second like top tool in Photoshop, and that tool now is going to be the quick selection tool, and that's the fourth tool down from the top. Okay, the fourth tool right is a quick selection tool. This quick selection tool here, this is the tool that will help you remove the background. This is the tool that will help you select a portion from your thing. Like it's like it says, it gives you a quick selection of something. All right, so right now, one way people struggle, one of the biggest questions that people have in Photoshop, like, yo, man, how do I remove the background? I mean, like, oh, this thing here has a background. I want to learn how to remove this background here. So with this quick selection tool, you can do that right now, right? But Photoshop has gotten so much easier and advanced. Like, there are so many different ways to remove background now. And I'm about to show you a few of them right now by like, and you might be wild out with some of them. And oh my goodness, I didn't know I could do that. How easy it is. So the first thing I wanted you to do here, go to that quick selection tool. Again, if you press down, you'll see there's a bunch of them, right? Like you got your object selection tool. If we go to that one first, that means it works like a marquee tool, right? If I want to select a portion of this, so let's say I just want to select this part here. I select that part. Now Photoshop is thinking and it's going to try to select exactly that area there by grabbing
like a picture.
that picture, right? But then it's gonna try to separate the background from what's there.
Everything that's inside.
I mean, so yeah, but that part can take some time because Photoshop got to do work. It's thinking now, but now it's done. That's what you got, right? So that selection can get defined a little bit. But now, if I wanted to remove this part here, I wanted to like make this a background. I can just go ahead and mask this out, hit the mask button, and I have that part that was selected, right? You're probably like, oh, what button was that? I'm gonna show y'all. Don't rush that yet. I mean, so boom, that's it there. So we can deselect that. The next one there is your quick selection tool. Quick selection tool works the same way. I mean, now I can go ahead and just do a quick selection here. Select everything. I'm just using it as a brush. I'm just brushing right over my selection to make it nice and like to grab the portion that I need, right? I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. I'm just holding the space bar and I'm able to move my canvas around. So that's it. I can go in and clean this up a little bit more and make my selection the way I want it to. That's my quick selection tool. And let's say now, once my quick selection tool is selected, I want you to take a look at your contextual toolbar. There's two buttons there that's super helpful. And that happens to be your select subject. So Photoshop can do this for you. Photoshop actually wants to save you some time and they want to do it for you. So they added this button here. Instead of me going on and doing all of this, selecting this, Photoshop say, you know what, let's add a button. We think we know what he's trying to do. So let's go ahead. Once he's on the tool, quick selection tool, you hit the select subject button. Photoshop is now going in and it's trying to separate that image from the background. I mean, so it's like that's why it's important to have good images when you're doing anything for clients, right? Some clients will send you a Google image. It was taken on the phone. It's a small. It's like you need 300 pixels. It's like 15 pixels or something like that. You're like, it's not gonna work. So what you want to do now is get good quality image because when Photoshop's going in to help you out, this is what they got. They went ahead, they did this thing, and this is the selection they got. Right? It's not perfect. We can go in here and do some more things. We can make our brush a little bit smaller. I'm hitting the bracket keys on my keyboard next to the P to make my brush bigger and my brush smaller. I like shortcuts because once you use this a lot, you understand that shortcuts is going to help you out when it comes to like speed, right? So now you can click in here and do more. I'm holding down the Alt key to try to get this to look good and all of that and all that. But I don't want to spend too much time on here to try to make it perfect, right? But that's how you would use that selection tool there. But the other part now, I want you to show you how there's another button where Photoshop can attempt to remove the background for you totally. So as long as I'm on this quick selection tool, I'm going to come to my properties and there's something that's called quick actions. So once I come to my properties menu, Underneath this properties menu here, as long as I'm on this quick selection tool, I have what is called the quick option menu right here. So you can see it says remove background. Let's hit that and see what Photoshop
Yeah, I knew
does.
that was there.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that, right?
I didn't.
All right.
Or
So
if you showed me, I didn't.
yep. What you got to do is not always there when the image is in. You got to make sure that image is a smart object or rasterized. So to do that, if I come to the layers, okay, I once you click on your layers option, you see rasterize there or smart object. You want to convert it to a smart object.
Oh,
That way you'll be able to see that. But next, let's come on here and remove background. Let's see what Photoshop does. Is it going to do it for us? Whoa! Whoa! You see that? That thing was nice. So Photoshop did that for us, y'all. So you see how simple it is. Like, even though I show you the tools that you could use to do it, that's the long way, right? Like, you just got to make sure you got good images. If you got good images, bro, like Photoshop can do it for you. Like, there's still some blacks in there. We can go in and clean it up a little bit, but with that now, we can use another tool that we'll go into. I'm actually not going to move in there. You can use the pen tool there. You can use the background, the magic eraser tool there. There's a few other tools we'll go into, but that's how you remove the background. Let's keep going, right? So the next thing I want to do here is my crop tool. So let's say I want to send this over to DTF for DTF right now, but DTF, right? Like those DTF printers, they don't like the extra space. I mean, people want the stuff to be exact. Like, I don't want to waste my paper, right? So they want it to be exact. So right now you can see we don't have our stuff is not exact because we have all these extra pixels over here that's showing up, right? So what we can do is the crop tool. So we come to the crop tool, just like I said, everybody knows the crop tool. So you can go in here and just crop the sides. I mean, and bring in this side, and that would take away all the extras. I mean, so now if we hit that, it took away all the extra things there, and now that image there is we took away 2 inches on each side on the image, right? An inch on each side. You can do more on the top and all of that. You can actually there's some shortcuts up here on the contextual toolbar of that tool, and you can tell it what image you want it to be. So if you want it to be cropped to exactly something, it can do that for you. All right. So that's the crop tool. I'm going to take some steps back. Oops. Take a step back. If you guys enjoying this show, let me know, man. Said cool. I know that's cool, right? It's cool. We're learning some things here. So we'll redo it. The next tool now I like to talk about here, the eyedropper tool is cool. I mean, what the eyedropper tool does, it just samples a color and let you to put it somewhere else. So let's see how that would work. Well, let's say I'm just gonna take a random shape. I'm just gonna do a random shape here for now. Boom, it's a random shape, and I want to fill that shape not with black. I want to fill that shape with maybe this blue, right? I got my blue now. It's selected, like it's actually in my paint bucket.
And it shows it down at the bottom.
And it shows it right down here at the bottom of the screen where you can see your colors. Now that is ready for me to dump. If I wanted to fill this circle in, I just come to my paint bucket tool right here, and I can dump that. If it was rasterized, I'll be able to dump it, and I can dump that into that shape, you know? Right. So that's how that would work. For our, we're not gonna mess with the stem tool. The brush tool now is another. It's actually probably the number one tool used in Photoshop is going to be a brush tool because, like, what you can do with the brush tool is amazing. You can bring in your own brushes. You can do custom shapes with brushes. There's a lot of things you can do with brushes, right? So I'm come over here to brush. For shortcut, you just push B on your keyboard, and let's say I'm gonna create a new layer. Jeez. So I'm going to create a new layer over here, right? Come to my layers. And if you scroll down to the plus sign right next to the trash can, there's a new layer there. So now we got 2 layers. So if I turn off our bottom layer there, we're cool right now. So now we got a brush. And on our contextual toolbar, that'll be the second menu bar here. We got a whole bunch of brushes here. We can change the options. We can make our brush bigger. We can use different types of brushes. You can bring in some custom brushes if you want. But essentially what a brush is going to do here now is just let you brush some stuff onto your
Like
canvas.
painting.
Just paint, right? That's the basic use of a brush. But brush can take your whole artwork above and beyond if you know how to use it and how to use the custom functions of them. So if you had your own custom brush, let's say, let's find one of my custom brushes I got laying around. Here's a custom brush here. I'm gonna change the color real quick so we'll be able to see the difference here. I'm losing my cursor a lot. My screen's not in the right position. All right, so here's my custom brush. Boom, just like that. That is a brush. Okay. So that's a brush there. It just happens to be I think it's an explosion brush or some type of like galaxy brush or something.
Like a spray paint.
Yep. So that's a
That's
brush
what I'm
there.
looking
You can
for.
change the different colors. You can do a lot with brushes in Photoshop. All right. So there's a brushes there. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm going to skip all the way down to the pen tool. The next tool here happens to be a pen tool, right? So I'm going to turn off this layer. We're going to bring this layer back here. We got all of them. All right. So we got our layers. Let's close this up. Next thing here is our pen tool. So what the pen tool allows you to do now is to get a little more exact on your selection. That's the biggest thing of the pen tool. Most like professionals are going to use the pen tool to select and do all of that because it gets you a little more accurate. But if you don't know how to use the pen tool, you can be frustrated super easy. You can, this thing is doing its own thing. Because some parts of it is going to do lines, then you got to know how to do the curves and all of that. But bare minimum, what a pen tool is going to do for you, you can draw straight different shapes, right? So if I hit one point, I can come all the way over here and hit another point. That's a line. So if I want to connect the next one and make it more like a circle, I just hold down my button and just scroll down. I mean, like it's pretty tricky how it works. But let's say right now, if I wanted to make a selection here, I'm gonna remove the fill. I'm gonna come over here. Boom. Looks like I got one point already started. All right, so let's do this. We're gonna click there, and then we're gonna click here. So we got that point, and we're gonna click here, and we're gonna click here. So let's say now to do this circle, I'm gonna remove the fill real quick. To do this circle part, I'm going to click on here where I want to go, but now that gives me a lines, but I'm holding it. I'm not releasing yet. And if I hold and drag, I'm going to drag until that circle is actually formed where I want it to be. I mean, maybe I made my last point too long. I should have stopped right in the middle there. But you can see, like, right now, I got half of that circle where I want it to be. I mean, so that selection there. So now if I want to bring this point back, I hold down my Alt key and I can bring that point back here and I'll be able to start my next point and so on. But that's how it works. It's just a little tricky. You gotta get used to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, definitely gotta get used to it, but that's how that tool will work. The pen tool is a golden tool that you want to get used to. All right. So, and then you got your text tool, right? Text tool, just like it says, that's how you would type onto your canvas. Like, hey, you want to put hello down here, or let's just say show off. Yes, because today you're going to be able to show off Wagwan. Wagwan. Huh? Huh? But why I can't hit the button then? Oh, here we go. Technical difficulties.
Happens to the best of us.
What the heck? It just don't want to cancel. Okay. Okay. I see you showing off. That's what I get for typing show off on the screen.
Yeah.
But that's how that would work, right? That's your type tool. You just type something on there and
There's different type. It's more than just the one regular text fonts that you can use.
yeah, so there's different fonts, right? So as you land onto the type tool on your contextual toolbar again, all the different fonts you can select, right? So you can choose any of these fonts here. Make sure the font is actually on your computer.
Right. Because you can always go to a website and get more fonts and just upload it to the computer so that you can have them inside of the software.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So now you just type in here, and we're just gonna leave the little ipsum there, and we got it there. But it's a nasty color. You can barely even see. You come into the layers, the type 2 layer. You can type in there, double click in there, and on the top now I can resize it. So if I want to resize my text, once it's selected, you can see that it's highlighted. I'm up on my contextual toolbar, and you can see next to the font name, you'll see there's numbers there, and it says 33 point. I'm just sliding to the right now, and that's gonna make my font a little bigger. And then I'm gonna hit the check mark up here to agree and confirm. And now to move this text a little centered, we're just gonna come to our move tool, and we're gonna place this thing right about there. Right. So that's how you do your text too. If I wanted to change the color to this, once it's selected again on the contextual toolbar up top, I can change my color. The color box opened up, but it opened up on my other screen. So now I just got to go ahead and choose a color that I want. Boom. And now we have what we need there. Right. So that's it, right? Those are the tools. And you got any question on tools so far? Was that pretty cool?
That was pretty decent, especially for someone like myself who dip and dabs in Adobe Photoshop. There is a definite big learning curve because as soon as you think you know something, there's always a simpler way to finding out that
Yep.
you could do it even easier or faster.
Yeah, there's always a simpler way. So even though what I showed you, I showed some of the longest ways,
Right.
right? But like there's simpler ways to do those things there. And even like the fact of just remove the background, that's a simple tool right there. But I think like let's go back into this little part right here that has the black, right? And there's one more tool I wanted to see and use and see if that's going to work for this.
Which tool?
So if we come to the eraser, because that's what you want to think, like, oh, I want to erase that part. There's a bunch of erasers here. You can grab your regular eraser and try to do it, and oh yeah, it's going to work. You see that it's happening,
That's
but
murderous.
it's kind of, I mean, it kind of sucks that way, right? So I'm gonna
Yes.
zoom in a bit. I mean, I'm holding Control plus sign here. Zoom in, and there's another one here we're gonna try. Right, we're gonna come up here. Let's try the magic eraser tool. So what the magic eraser tool should do for us, if we select a color, basically telling the thing, hey, there's a certain color I don't want, like that's in my design, and it happens to be that black spot right there.
What's funny is I never knew that, and I used to get frustrated so much trying to pin it, line it out, and then hit the disappear button or try to erase that part in particular, and I start messing up the actual picture.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is exactly what I'm saying. Like, you try to use something once, and you be like, "Oh, I can't do it," and
yep.
then
So now
this
that's simple.
happens,
That black spot is gone, and our
and
artwork
it took
is
the spot off the top as well
yeah. Yep. It just moved all the extra anywhere that black was, right? Because
on
everything
the
else in here
outside of the blue.
on the outside of the blue.
Okay,
Yep. I mean,
got you.
yep. So now that's good. That's how you'll use that eraser background there. You know, that magic background tool there is super important, super cool tool. And you can do that with like a whole bunch of images, right? Like if that whole background was still there from the beginning, we could still use that same thing, remove this whole thing from the background that we did
So if I
before.
was to go inside of the actual picture, everywhere is black at. If I wanted to hit that black where it says gaming TV, I would just hit that and it'll just disappear. That area, not everywhere. Exactly.
Yep.
And, oh, all right,
It's just
cool.
with whatever is within
In that,
that closed loop.
okay.
Yep, because there's almost like a closed loop right here, right? So the same thing in here. If I hit in there, it's gonna get rid of that closed loop area there. You know, so now this is getting more like a DTF image, right? Like you can remove more and all of that if you didn't want that. But for us, we want that. So now let's get into actually like setting up this design now. So we've done everything. We removed the background. We've done everything that we need, right? This image is cool. Like, but I want to set this up now and save it for print. And there's other,
I got a question.
yeah, go ahead.
For somebody like myself, I got still run into the issues of the pixelation on the edges. So when you pull the image closer, you start seeing that pixelated stuff. With the DTF, you don't actually see it when they print it out, but you know it's there inside of the picture opposed to on the edges.
Okay.
How do I clear the outside pixelation part?
So I mean, it depends on the type of the image that you bring in, right? So
Okay.
there's as far as changing pixelation, is it gets a little advanced into that, right? So there's different ways you can redraw the artwork and to clean up that a little bit, or like on the edges you can add some effects, right? Like an auto glow or something like that, just to make sure it blends,
Smooths it out.
it's smoothing it out a little
Okay.
bit. So let's say if that was something I wanted to do, I wanted to add a little bit of a drop shadow here or something on the edges, so my edge is not just sticking out, or maybe auto glow so this design is able to be printed on anything, any color tee. So I'm gonna come over here once my artwork is selected, and I'm gonna come up to effects at the very bottom. All right, or you can right click on the layer and come up to your blending options. Okay, so it brings you into this tab here. That's, I need to drag the window over. Okay, so then it brings you over onto this window here. This is your layer styles window, and over here now is where, slide over so we can see the effects as we do it, where you can add a few things. So if you wanted to add a stroke to this design, you can hit stroke. All right, so when you hit stroke, it looks like nothing's happening because your stroke is probably too small right now. So we click on the actual word stroke, you will get the stroke menu to open up. So now you can change this pixel size here. It's only at 1 pixels right now. So if we go ahead and make this bigger, you can see it gets bigger there. It gets a little messy at some point, but you can change that color too. If you don't want it to be white,
And
you
make
can,
it the same color as the outline, so that now that's all flat.
exactly. So
Okay.
you come in here,
Gotcha.
you can choose that color there. Now it looks like it's, I mean, add an
Yeah.
extra, like a bleed area there to it, and it blends in a little
You
bit.
just make it thin enough, just that you lose that pixelation on the outsides of the actual.
Exactly. So it's just like you're just masking it, you're covering it with a little bit more or
All
something
right.
like that. So that's stroke. And if you wanted to do menus, double screen, if you wanted to do like something different than stroke, we can do remove the stroke. Then you can do like a drop, a auto glow, but you can't see auto glow in my list here, right? But if you come down to effects at the bottom left corner, you can find an auto glow tab right there. You just add it onto the list, you know. So now you got your auto glow. You can add your glow here. Let's say you do white. You can change your glow size again. Right now it's at 8 pixels. We can bring it up a bit. You can change the spread, you know, how much you see. Right now you can't see it, but let's say I'm gonna hit OK there, and I want to add a background so you can see something, right?
Right.
And to add just like a solid background to that, come down to the into the bottom of your layers panel, this yin yang flag thing. I hit that, and I'm come to solid colors. So it's gonna give me a layers that it just has solid colors.
You bring your
And then
picture
I'm
on
gonna,
top of it.
exactly. So I'm gonna just take this one and drag it all the way to the bottom. Once I agree to it, I need to reposition the joint. So I'm gonna drop this down, and now you can almost like you can see the glow now a little bit on your image. You know, so if you wanted to adjust this glow, you just double tap into the effects area there, come back to it, and you can change it. So you want to change the glow color to something different, that's fine too. Let's say we want to go a little darker there. And you can change the blend mode as well. So right now it's on screen, so we can't really see it well. But if we change that to something different, maybe we'll go to like, we'll go to normal. With normal, you can see a little bit. You see it pops there a little bit. And you can increase the size of that. You know, you can get a little nasty with it if you wanted to. That's how you make your image pop out a bit on your transfers, right?
And it's always good to, when you're sending DTF transfers, if you're doing like a background, like if you do a circle, you're just trying to make sure that all the colors that you have inside of that actual design is there. To change that background to a color that all your colors that you're using, you can see them before you
Yep.
take the
Exactly.
color out
Exactly.
and send it in.
Yep. So now I think our work is ready now. Let's just lay it out, right? So let's say you want to take advantage of, I'm actually gonna remove this text part here because we don't really need it. I just want to work with this logo. All right. So I want to resize this logo here for a few ways. This is a 12 by 12 transfer sheet that I'm getting here. But now I want I got a left chest logo, I got a full back logo. How can I take advantage of what most companies are offering, right? It's called gang sheeting. So how do I set this up for gang sheet to make sure I'm capitalizing on every single square inch in here? So all you gotta do is basically with gang sheeting, it's duplicating the image that you have, like, or the image that you need, and just make it smaller in the place where it fits. Like, you just adding more images to the sheet. So figure out what size you need first. So if I want my first one to be my main image, I'm gonna actually convert this to a smart object. And the reason why I convert to smart objects, so I'm able to resize it and not like lose any type of details and
That
all
was
of
going to
that.
be my next question, because sometimes when you try to resize certain things, like a circle image, when you resize it, it changes the actual circumference of that object. So now you done made it too flat, as in size from height wise, or you made
Mhm.
it too wide in width, opposed to keeping the same exact structure
Okay.
when you expanding it or decreasing it.
So yeah, so to do that, what you sound like what you're struggling with is getting the image to expand proportionally.
Right.
I mean, so right now, if I was going to try to expand this image here one way, it's going to just move from the center. I mean, so I'm just grabbing one, it's only expanding from the center. But if I wanted to resize this in a way where I want all sides to expand together proportionally, I have to hold down shift. You know, if I hold down shift, if I hold down alt is gonna get it goofy. Like shift and alt
Right.
gets it a little goofy there. That's holding shift and alt. But if I release like shift and hold just down alt, it goes up just like one way. I mean, but if you hold down shift, then it goes this way. You just gotta hold down another button to assist with it. I mean, alt is gonna move it proportionally on both sides.
Okay.
Okay. So now that made it bigger. Okay, so our image now, this is our forefront. We're gonna move this all the way to the side, get it as much as we can. We still have a little bit of space there we wanted to, or maybe we can just make this one a little bit smaller and take advantage of gang sheeting. So I'm gonna put this right here, boom, and now I'm gonna duplicate this artwork or this layer here. I can use Control J or just right click on the menu, duplicate layer. So now there's two of those images in here. Bam. So what I got to do next, there's two of them. You just can't see the other one because it's behind it. But now I can remove this and I can resize this now to get my gang sheet started. My gang sheet now, I need 4x4. You can see as I'm resizing this, you can see the numbers on the side there. So if I say I need a 3.5 or a 4x4, I'm going to bring it down to like 3.5. 3.5 by 3.5 would be a good size for like a left chest, right? So now I can place a left chest right there. And I can duplicate this a few times. Maybe you have to rotate it a little bit to make sure it fits and all those things. So maybe it don't work here, right? Or you have to make this one smaller for like a cap
Or the neck,
or
the
the
back of the
neck
neck.
tag or
Yeah,
something
there
like
you go.
that, right? You just
Yep.
got to take advantage of all the different
Right.
spaces. The camera died.
Your camera died too.
Mhm. So hit me on that one there. Turn it to me and hit the shuttle button for me. Yep. Yeah, the camera died. Let's be plugged in. We'll be in an hour. All right. So that's how you'll set this up. Let's say this is my gang sheet now. I'm good. Everything is cool here. We still got more space you can fill out. You know, you can resize this again for neck tags. Like Larry said, make your neck tag about like 2x2 or something like that.
And that's a bonus when you're giving it to the client, because if the
Mm-hmm.
client never expected that.
Yeah, they didn't even
Oh
know
yeah.
anything about a neck tag, right?
Mhm.
I like to when I'm placing my gang sheets, I also like to pay attention to the placement because when I'm cutting it apart, I want to leave my designs as straight as possible so I can get good placement. So I like to make sure I'm not like placing the design in here in this spot. Then when I have to cut it, it gets a little goofy.
Right.
I mean, so yeah. So this is it. Let's say this is your sheet now. You're ready. All you have to do is save this with the transparency. So if it had this background right here, let's say we had this background, you don't want to send it this way. This is why your printer is gonna hate you, right?
Mhm.
All you have to do now is turn off this background layer. It's a layer by itself. It's probably white for most people that's watching this, right? Just turn that layer off. Make sure before you save, you can see this checkerboard, this transparency, this pixel. If you see this checkerboard effect, it's okay to save this now. So all you have to do here, come to File, Save As, all right? And you're going to save this onto your computer, or you're going to save this onto your cloud, wherever. I'm trying to find this window. All right, so here it is. I'm going to save it onto my computer, or if you want to save onto the cloud, that's on you. And now you can save this into file type. Go to PNG. Make sure you select PNG.
Yes.
And
transparency.
Yep, and name it as something. Save it on your download. We'll name it as this for now. And we'll hit save. All right, and then you just hit OK. And that image is saved. It's saving there. And you'll be able to go ahead and open this file and send it over to your DTF provider, whoever is printing for you. That image is saved, and it is right here. All right, now that's the image right there. It's all good. There's no background. Even though you see that black is actually transparent. That's the screen that you see in the background there. So that's it. That's how you would set yourself up for DTF printing using Photoshop. All right. So if you found value to this show today, I appreciate it. Things are all crazy right now. I can't even figure out where I'm at, but there I am. All right. There I go. There I go. All right. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in to today's show. It has been a good one, man. It's been the Fire Up the Heat Press show, man. You learned tips and tricks today, how you can now set your artwork up and stop pissing off your printers, your DTF providers. People are sending stuff back to you. It's prolonging the process for you to get your stuff shipped out because you don't know how to set up your artwork, right?
Yeah, that's major. That's very major because I've done it a couple times and I got my DTFs back and I had my little image, the background color that I call myself filling it in was on the DTF. And I'm like, because I didn't use the color background to make sure all my image color was correct and then remove it. I sent it as is, and that little white was on the outside of my logo that I was sending. I was like, oh, now I got to do a whole new transfer.
Exactly, bro. So was today's helpful? Was this helpful?
Most definitely.
I'm just hoping. I'm hoping that the people found value to it, man, because it takes a lot to bring this type information out to people.
But if they tune into you, that means they found value in you already.
You already know. And I see some real ones, man. I see some people returning, say, "Oh, nuggets. Wow, I know." Right? What version of Photoshop was that? Shoosh, I don't know. Creative Cloud 2020 something. 2020. Go for the 2020 version. You'll be all right. And
as long as you in Photoshop.
Yeah, just be in Photoshop. Learn a lot of new techniques today. Yes, I appreciate it. I hope you guys all found value to this show, right? And again, make sure you share this information with someone, man. And if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel, right? We're back again on Friday, each and every Friday, right here at 12 o'clock. Shout out to my man Larry for Next Step Custom for coming in today.
Sure, appreciate you having me, brother.
You already know, man. So until next time, I see y'all next week. Keep firing up the heat press, and I'm out of here.
All right.
Yeah. Woo! It's a good hour. Exactly an hour, man.